Captain Vextar stared at the blue and brown planets spinning slowly below his ship. Earth looked exactly like the report said it would, dead, quiet, and ready for mining. His claws tapped against the metal console as he read the final classification. "Report one more time. Dead world. Sector 7G. Sol system," he muttered to himself. "Human species extinct for 523 standard years. Nuclear war, climate failure, total population collapse." The report was signed by 3 different Galactic Council survey teams. All of them agreed. Nothing lived on Earth anymore. His second-in-command, a tall, blue-skinned Kathrani named Zolpin, floated over to look at the planet. "Sir, the mineral scans show incredible deposits of rare metals, lithium, platinum, uranium, all close to the surface. It will be easy to extract." Vextar nodded. Easy mining jobs were his favorite kind. No annoying native species to relocate, no environmental protection laws to follow, no resistance fighters hiding in caves, just pure profit for the hegemony. Mining consortium. "The humans were a violent species anyway," Zolpin continued, reading from his datapad. "The historical records showed they fought wars constantly. They destroyed their own planet with nuclear weapons and pollution. If you ask me." Other alien crew members gathered around to look at Earth through the main viewing screen. They had all heard stories about humans, primitive creatures who barely managed to split atoms before they wiped themselves out. Most galactic citizens considered them a cautionary tale about what happened when species developed weapons faster than wisdom. "Look at those brown patches," laughed Tekmer, the ship's communications officer. "Those used to be forests and cities. Now they are just dead dirt. The whole planet looks like a giant grave." Far below on Earth's surface, the brown patches looked lifeless from space. But hidden underneath the carefully maintained appearance of devastation, millions of humans lived in vast underground cities. They had spent over 500 years perfecting the art of staying invisible. On the dark side of Earth's moon, Commander Li Jun stood in the control center of Darkside Station. The facility was built inside a natural crater, completely hidden from any scans coming from Earth's direction. Jun was 45 years old, with graying hair and calm eyes that had seen decades of preparation for this exact moment. "Alien mining fleet is holding position above Earth," reported his communications officer, Specialist Kim Yujin. "They have 12 ships total, mostly mining vessels, but 3 military escorts." Jun nodded slowly. Every detail had been planned. Centuries ago, when Earth's deep space monitoring systems first detected signs of galactic civilization, humanity's leaders made an incredible decision. Instead of trying to make contact or preparing for war, they chose to disappear completely. The staged extinction event took 50 years to complete. Real nuclear weapons were used to create authentic radiation signatures. Forests were burned in controlled patterns to simulate ecological collapse. Cities were abandoned and left to decay naturally. Radio transmission was stopped. Every light visible from space was turned off. Most importantly, humanity retreated underground in 2 hidden bases throughout the solar system. They spent the next 470 years watching, learning, and preparing. "Bring up the infiltration reports," Jin ordered. The main screen filled with data from across the galaxy. For centuries, genetically modified humans had been living among alien populations. They learned alien languages, studied alien technology, and slowly worked their way into positions of influence. The aliens never suspected that some of their most trusted advisors were actually human spies. Occasion Park Jinsu reports from Hegemony Prime, Yujin Reed from her console. "He has been serving as Assistant Trade Minister for 31 years. The mining fleet was sent to Earth based on his recommendation." Jun smiled slightly. Every step of the aliens' plan had been guided by human agents. They were not just discovering Earth by accident, they were being led here deliberately. "Sir, should we begin jamming their communications?" asked Tactical Officer Choi Min-soo. "Not yet," Jun replied. "Let them get closer. Let them think they are safe." Through the station's hidden sensors, Jun watched the alien fleet begin its descent toward Earth. Captain Vextar and his crew had no idea they were flying into a trap 5 centuries in the making. They thought they were approaching a dead world full of valuable minerals. Instead, they were about to become the first aliens to learn that humanity's extinction had been carefully faked. Jun picked up his communicator and switched to the encrypted channel that connected every hidden human facility on Earth, the Moon, Mars, and the asteroid belt. Millions of humans had been waiting their entire lives for this moment. All stations, this is Darkside Station. Jen spoke clearly into the device. Operation Lazarus is now active. After 523 years of hiding, it is time to rise from the dead. Across the solar system, human commanders received the message and began activating systems that had been dormant for centuries. The greatest deception in galactic history was about to be revealed. Captain Vexstar watched his mining shuttles descend toward Earth's surface. The planet appeared dead and empty, just like the reports promised. His crew was excited about the easy mining operation ahead. "First shuttle approaching the atmosphere now, sir," reported Zolpin from his station. "No resistance detected, no energy signatures. This will be the easiest job we have done in years." Vexstar nodded and relaxed in his command chair. Dead worlds were always simple. No protests from native species, no environmental groups complaining, no military forces to worry about. Just land, dig, extract, and leave with pockets full of profit. The first shuttle crossed into Earth's upper atmosphere. Pilot Grekfin hummed a popular hegemony song as he guided the craft toward a promising mineral deposit in what used to be called Asia. His scanners showed rich veins of rare metals just below the surface. "This is going to make us rich," Grekfin said to his co-pilot. "Look at these readings. Pure platinum, just sitting there waiting for us." Suddenly, every instrument in the shuttle went dead. The engines stopped. The lights cut out. The communication system fell silent. The craft began falling toward the ground in complete darkness. "What is happening?" Grekfin shouted, but his co-pilot could not answer. All their equipment had stopped working at exactly the same moment. On the main ship, Vexstar watched in shock as 3 of his shuttles simply stopped functioning and began falling toward Earth's surface. Communications, contact the shuttles immediately." "Sir, I cannot reach them," Tekmar replied frantically. All 3 shuttles went silent at the same time. Their engines are off, but they are still intact. Captain Vexstar had never seen anything like it. The shuttles were not destroyed or damaged, they were just completely powerless. It looked like some kind of electromagnetic attack, but his sensors showed no weapons firing from the planet below. "Impossible," he muttered. "The planet is dead. There's nothing down there that could do this." The shuttles crashed gently into Earth's surface, their emergency landing systems still working. Vexstar could see through his telescopes that his crew members were alive but stranded, from hidden positions around the crash sites. Human soldiers watched through advanced camouflaged equipment. The electromagnetic pulse cannons had worked perfectly. They were disguised as ordinary rock formations and hills, completely invisible to alien scanners. Commander Park Heinwu spoke into his radio from his concealed position. "Clean disabling. Shots. No casualties detected. The aliens are confused but unharmed. Proceeding to Phase 2. Deep beneath the ruins of Seoul, Admiral Kim Sora received the report. She was a tall woman with sharp eyes and graying hair, wearing the formal white and gold robes of Earth's Hidden Council. These robes had been designed centuries ago for this exact moment. First contact with galactic civilization? Excellent work, Sora said calmly. Begin diplomatic approach. Remember, we want them surprised but not terrified. She walked through the underground complex that had been home to millions of humans for over 5 centuries. The Seoul Underground was one of Earth's largest hidden cities, complete with schools, hospitals, factories, and research centers. Children who had never seen the surface sky lived their entire lives preparing for the day humans would reveal themselves to the galaxy. Sora took an elevator to the surface level. The exit was hidden inside what appeared to be a destroyed building. From space, this area looked like a dead wasteland. In reality, it was one of humanity's most important strategic locations. A convoy of vehicles waited for her, sleek advanced transports that had been developed during humanity's centuries of hiding. They looked nothing like the primitive technology the aliens expected from humans. "Take us to crash site Alpha, Sora," ordered her driver. Captain Vexstar and his surviving crew members stood beside their crashed shuttles, completely bewildered. Their equipment was still dead, but they were unharmed. The landscape around them looked exactly like the historical records, brown, dead earth with no signs of life. "Sir, look," whispered Zolpin, pointing toward the horizon. A line of strange vehicles was approaching. They moved silently across the dead ground, sleek and obviously advanced. As they got closer, Vexstar could see that the beings driving them looked exactly like the extinct humans from the historical records. The vehicle stopped 30 meters away. A tall figure in formal robes stepped out and walked toward the aliens. She moved with confidence and authority, not like a primitive creature at all. Admiral Sora stopped a few meters from Captain Vexstar and spoke in perfect galactic standard. Her pronunciation was flawless, her grammar correct, her tone diplomatic, but firm. "Welcome to Earth," she said clearly. "We apologize for the deception, but your arrival was expected. We have much to discuss." Vexstar stared at her in complete disbelief. His mouth hung open. His claws trembled slightly. According to every piece of data in galactic archives, humans were extinct. They had died out over 500 years ago. After destroying their own planet with primitive weapons, yet here stood a human speaking his language perfectly, wearing sophisticated clothing, clearly in command of technology, advanced enough to disable his shuttles without harming his crew. This is impossible," Vexstar stammered, his voice shaking. "You are extinct. You've been extinct for centuries. This cannot be real." Sora smiled, but it was not a warm smile. It was the cold smile of someone who had been planning this moment for a very long time. "Extinction was always just a performance," she said calmly. "We have been watching you watch us for a very long time." 3 days after the shuttle crashes, Captain Vexstar found himself in a place that should not exist. He was deep beneath the Pacific Ocean, in a massive underwater city that stretched 4 kilometers in every direction. The city was filled with millions of humans who were supposed to be extinct. Admiral Sora had brought him and his crew to this place through a high-speed underwater transport. During the journey, Vexstar had pressed his face against the windows in amazement. The ocean floor was covered with dome-shaped buildings, underwater farms, and transport tubes connecting different sections of the city. "How long has this been here?" he asked Sora, his voice barely a whisper. "This particular city was completed about 400 years ago," she replied calmly. "We have 17 others like it around the world." Now Vexstar sat in a large conference room with curved walls made of transparent metal. Outside the walls, he could see fish swimming past and the distant lights of other buildings. The room was filled with alien delegates who had been brought here from different parts of the galaxy. All of them looked as shocked and confused as he felt. Director Park Min-ho stood at the front of the room. He was a middle-aged man with kind eyes but a serious expression. He wore a simple gray uniform with small symbols that Vexstar did not recognize. "Ladies and gentlemen," Min-ho began, speaking in perfect galactic standard. "Thank you for coming to Earth. I know this experience has been shocking for all of you. Today, we will explain exactly what humanity has been doing for the past 5 centuries. He pressed a button on his control panel. The air above the conference table shimmered, and suddenly a 3-dimensional hologram appeared. It showed Earth as it looked from space, with its brown and dead-looking surface. "This is what your satellites see when they look at our planet," Min-ho said. "Dead. Lifeless. Destroyed by nuclear war and environmental collapse. This image has been carefully maintained for over 500 years. The hologram changed, showing the same view of Earth but with different colors. Now the brown areas were revealed to be sophisticated camouflage covering green forests and blue lakes. The dead cities were shown to be carefully maintained, ruins hiding thriving underground complexes. Captain Vexstar gasped. "The whole planet is a lie." "Not a lie," Min-ho replied. "Performance, our deep space monitoring stations first detected your galactic civilization 5 centuries ago. Humanity faced a choice. We could try to make peaceful contact, But we saw what happened to other species who did that. We could prepare for war, but we knew we were not strong enough to fight. Entire galaxy. The hologram changed again, showing Earth's solar system as it looked 500 years ago. Human cities were visible on the surface, and primitive spacecraft moved between Earth and the Moon. So we chose a third option, Minho continued. We decided to disappear completely. We used real nuclear weapons to create authentic radiation, signatures that your sensors would detect. We burned forests in specific patterns to simulate ecological collapse. We abandoned our surface cities and let them decay naturally. The hologram showed the staged destruction in detail. Vexstar watched human engineering teams carefully destroying their own cities, creating perfect scenes of devastation that would fool any alien observers. The most important part was stopping all radio transmissions and light pollution, Minho explained. From space, Earth had to look completely dead. Meanwhile, we moved our entire civilization underground, underwater, and 2 hidden bases throughout the solar system. A new hologram appeared showing the interior of the underwater city where they now sat. It was beautiful and advanced, with clean energy systems and sophisticated technology. Children played in parks under artificial sunlight while adults worked, in laboratories and factories. But we did not just hide, Minho said, his voice becoming more serious. We spent the next 5 centuries learning everything we could about galactic civilization. We studied your languages, your technology, your politics, and your military capabilities. The hologram changed to show dozens of different alien worlds. Each one had certain individuals highlighted in bright colors: senators, admirals, trade, ministers, and other important officials. Your species excels at conquest, Minho said, looking directly at the shocked alien delegates. But you are remarkably poor at recognizing deception. For 500 years we have been among you. Captain Vexstar stared at the highlighted figures on the hologram. One of them was his own fleet commander, Admiral Threkvon. Another was Trade Minister Jalvex, who had personally assigned him to this mining mission. Oh. Those are not aliens, he whispered in horror. Correct, Minho replied. Each highlighted individual is either a human operative with advanced genetic modifications, or a human-alien hybrid working for Earth's intelligence network. They have been placed in positions of power throughout your civilization. The hologram zoomed in on specific individuals, showing them removing biomasks to reveal human faces underneath. Others were shown in medical facilities, where their alien DNA was being combined with human genetic material to create perfect hybrid agents. Every major decision your Galactic Council has made in the past 2 centuries has been influenced by human agents, Minho continued. 8. We know your weaknesses, your technologies, your military capabilities.
Yes.
Most importantly, we know you never thought to look for us. Vexstar felt sick. His entire career, his fleet assignments, even this mining mission to Earth, all of it had been guided by hidden human agents. The extinct primitives had been manipulating galactic civilization for centuries. We are not your enemies, Minho said gently. But we are not your victims either. Admiral Dexron was having his morning meal in his private quarters on Hegemony Prime when his world changed forever. His most trusted advisor, a Krellian named Jin Wu, entered the room as he did every day for the past 15 years. Good morning, Admiral Jin Wu said in his usual calm voice. We need to discuss the Earth mining operation. Thesron looked up from his food. Jin Wu had been his closest friend and advisor since the early days of his career. The Krellian had helped him make every important decision, guided his promotions, and earned his complete trust. What about Earth? Dexron asked. Captain Vexstar should be starting mining operations by now. Jin Wu smiled, but it was a different kind of smile than usual. Slowly he reached up to his face and began pulling at what the Skron had always thought was normal Krellian skin. The gray-green flesh came away like a mask, revealing pale human skin underneath. The Earth operation was never about mining, Jinwoo said, his voice changing as well. He spoke with a human accent. My real name is Park Jinwoo, and I am a human intelligence agent. I have been working for Earth for 37 years. Admiral Dexron dropped his eating utensil. His mouth opened and closed like a fish out of water. He stared at the human face where his trusted Krellian friend had been just moments before. "This is impossible," he whispered. "Humans are extinct. Or Krellian. I have known you for 15 years. Ginwu continued removing pieces of his biomask, revealing more human features. "Humans have never been extinct, Admiral. We have been hiding among you, learning from you, and guiding your decisions. Every major choice you have made in the past 15 years was influenced by my suggestions." On the Trade World Nexus station, something similar was happening. The Jin had been known throughout the sector as the most successful rare metals merchant in galactic history. She was a mysterious figure who never revealed her species, always wore concealing robes, somehow managed to control 40% of the galaxy's rare metal trade. Today, she stood in the central trading hall of Nexus Station, surrounded by hundreds of alien merchants and government officials. Without warning, she activated the station's public communication system. "Citizens of the galaxy," her voice echoed through every speaker on the station. "I have an important announcement to make." She pulled back the hood of her robes, revealing a human face with short black hair and intelligent dark eyes. The crowd gasped in shock and confusion. "My name is Han De Jin, and I am human," she continued. "For the past 43 years, I have controlled your rare metals market. Every shortage, every price increase, every trade agreement has been designed to serve Earth's interests." The alien merchants in the crowd began shouting and demanding explanations. Some called for security, others simply stood in stunned silence. "Humans are supposed to be extinct?" yelled a Kathrani trader. "We have never been extinct," the Jinn replied calmly. "We have been among you all along." Similar scenes were playing out across the galaxy. On 17 different worlds, human agents were simultaneously revealing their true identities. Government officials, military advisors, trade ministers, and intelligence chiefs all pulled away biomasks and genetic disguises to show their human faces. Captain Vexstar, still trapped in the underwater city on Earth, watched these revelations. Through communication screens, his hands shook as he received urgent messages from across his fleet's territory. "Sir, this is impossible," stammered his communications officer Techmore. "I am receiving reports from everywhere. Supply chains are collapsing, trade routes are being cut off, and our most trusted allies are claiming to be humans." Admiral Sora stood beside Vexstar, watching the chaos unfold with satisfaction. "Your mining fleet was not sent here by accident," she told him calmly. "Agent Park Subin, who you know as Trade Minister Jalvex, recommended this system specifically. She has been working for us for 37 years. Vexstar felt dizzy. Trade Minister Jalvex had personally chosen him for this mission. She had praised his skills, recommended his promotion, and guided his career for decades. No, he learned that she was actually a human spy who had been manipulating him his entire professional life. "How many of you are there?" he asked weakly. "Enough," Sora replied. "We have agents in every major government, every important corporation, and every significant military organization in the galaxy." On the Galactic Council homeworld, complete chaos had erupted. The emergency session of the Council was supposed to address the strange reports coming from Earth, but instead, it became a scene of panic and confusion. Council members, who had worked together for decades, were pulling off biomasks and revealing human faces. The head of Galactic Intelligence turned out to be human. The chief trade advisor was human. Even some of the security guards protecting the council chamber were human agents. Counselor Vrichthan, one of the few confirmed non-human officials remaining, stood at his podium shouting over the noise. "How long has this been going on?"
How?
"Many of you are spies?" "You're not spies," replied former Counselor Grixtel, now revealed to be a human woman named Li Sujin. "We are representatives of a civilization that chose to remain hidden until we were ready to reveal ourselves." The scope of human infiltration was staggering. They had been inside galactic civilizations since before most member species had even joined the Council. Every major policy decision, every trade agreement, every military strategy had been influenced by human agents, working toward their own mysterious goals. As reports continued flooding in from across the galaxy, one thing became clear: humanity had never been extinct. They had been playing the longest game in galactic history. Now their trap was finally springing shut. The Galactic Council chamber had never seen such chaos. Half the seats were empty because their occupants had revealed themselves to be human agents. The remaining alien counselors sat in stunned silence, trying to understand how their entire civilization had been infiltrated for centuries. Emergency. Alarms echoed through the Great Hall as communication systems activated on their own. A massive hologram appeared above the center of the chamber, showing a human woman in elegant white robes standing in what appeared to be a command center. "Honorable members of the Galactic Council," the woman began, her voice calm and clear. "My name is Director Cho Yunha, and I speak for the Hidden Coalition of Earth." Counselor Vriekthin, the hegemony representative, stood up angrily. "This is impossible. Humans are extinct. You cannot just appear and take over our council chamber." Yuna smiled patiently. "We have never been extinct, Counselor. We have simply been waiting for the right moment to reveal ourselves. That moment is now." Behind her, the hologram expanded to show other figures standing in formation. They were clearly not human. Some had blue skin, others had multiple arms, and several had features that looked reptilian or insectoid. "Allow me to introduce our partners," Yuna continued. "Representatives of the Altarian Republic, the Vegan Confederacy, the Silk Road Collective, and 9 other civilizations that your records list as extinct." The alien counselors gasped. These were species that had supposedly died out centuries ago, victims of wars, plagues, or environmental disasters. Yet here they stood, very much alive, and apparently working together. "This is a trick," shouted Counselor Zefklon from the Traders Guild. "These species are dead. We have archaeological evidence, have historical records." "You have what we wanted you to have," replied one of the blue-skinned figures behind Yunha. "I am Ambassador Kethron of the Altarian Republic. We chose to disappear rather than be absorbed into your galactic hierarchy. Like humanity, we found it easier to be presumed dead than to fight a war we could not win." Director Yunha stepped forward, her image becoming larger and more imposing. "We are not here to conquer you," she announced clearly. "We are here to offer you a choice." She gestured, and the hologram changed to show scenes from across the galaxy. Alien worlds were experiencing massive infrastructure problems. Communication networks were failing, trade routes were disrupted, and military systems were malfunctioning. "For too long, your Galactic Council has operated on the principle that might makes right," Yunha continued.
"How you ask?"
"Species have the authority to absorb or eliminate those they consider primitive. This ends today." The hologram shifted again, showing incredible technological achievements. Clean energy systems that could power entire worlds without pollution. Medical devices that could cure diseases that had plagued alien species for millennia. Terraforming equipment that could turn dead planets into garden worlds in just a few years. "We offer partnership, but not membership in your hierarchy," Yunha explained. "During our centuries of hiding, we have solved many problems that your civilization still struggles with. We are willing to share these solutions." Captain Vexstar, watching from Earth's underwater city, felt his heart sinking. The technology being displayed was far beyond anything the Galactic Council possessed. Humanity and their hidden allies were not just revealing themselves, they were demonstrating their superiority. "What do you want from us?" asked Counselor. Rekdos's voice barely a whisper. "Simple," Yunha replied. "The galaxy will operate under new principles. First, the right of species to develop independently without interference. Second, the right to refuse contact with galactic civilization. Third, the right to exist without being conquered, absorbed, or eliminated." She paused, letting her words sink in. "Your current system forces every species to either join your council or be destroyed. We are offering a different path." The hologram showed a map of the galaxy, with hundreds of worlds marked in different colors. "These worlds have been contacted by our agents over the past century. Many chose to remain hidden rather than face your expansion. Others were preparing to resist when you arrived. All of them are now under our protection." Counselor Vriekthin stood up again, his voice shaking with anger. You cannot just change the entire galactic order. We have laws, have treaties. You have laws that serve your interests, Yunha replied calmly. We have the capability to enforce our own principles. She gestured to the coalition representatives behind her. We have been inside your civilization for centuries. We know every weakness, every secret, every military capability you possess. We could cripple your infrastructure completely if we chose to. The hologram showed brief glimpses of the chaos still spreading across alien worlds, supply chains collapsing, governments. In confusion, military commanders discovering that their most trusted advisors were human agents. But we prefer cooperation to destruction, Yunha continued. We offer you advanced technology, solutions to your greatest problems, and partnership in exploring the galaxy. In return, you will respect the sovereignty of species that choose independence. She looked directly at the camera, her eyes hard but not cruel. The choice is yours, honored counselors. Adapt to a galaxy where hidden civilizations demand respect, or learn why extinction was just our opening move. The transmission began to fade. But Yunha's final words echoed clearly through the chamber. Earth has not returned from the dead. We simply decided to stop pretending to be gone. As the hologram disappeared, the remaining alien counselors sat in stunned silence. The balance of galactic power had shifted forever, and they all knew their old way of doing things was over.